In this assignment, I'll be looking at two contrasting individuals. For both, I'll create a 6-week training program which will be specific to them. This will include designing it around their goals and aims and their PARQ. Client 1 is a 48-year-old female. She weighs 82.9 kilograms and is 5'11" in height. This results in her BMI being 25.5 and shows how she is slightly overweight. Client 1 states her activity levels are low, although she does take a brisk dog walk every day for 45 minutes. After taking the PARQ, Client 1 seems physically ready to participate in the training program. We can see that Client 1 does not smoke or take any drugs and isn't prescribed any medication from doctors. No injuries were mentioned, and the client hasn't recently been to hospital due to any conditions. She stated that there was no cardiac or respiratory diseases that were hereditary, and she doesn't have any of these. There was no other reasons why she couldn't participate in physical activity. For the client information, we can see, as shown on the screen, that the client has an average resting heart rate of 73 beats per minute and a maximum heart rate of 170 beats per minute. We can see that her aims are to reduce body fat and to become fitter, and at the end of the 6-week program she'd like to complete a 10-kilometre run. Her spare times involve the evening, weekends, and on Wednesdays she has half days. But her barriers to exercise are work, as she's a full-time worker, and she also has a large family commitments. For short-term goals, this client would like to lose around 4 kilograms, if not more, within the 6 weeks. However, over the course of the year, this is a long-term goal. The client would like to lose 12 kilograms. This would mean that her BMI would become a healthy weight. As client 1 wants to lose weight, a lot of exercise done within the 6 weeks will be done at the fat burning zone, which is 60 to 70% of the maximum heart rate. Another long-term goal will be to change her overall lifestyle. This is because she wants to influence her family, especially her children, to live a healthy lifestyle. The overall 6-week training program will follow the SMART targets, as shown on the screen. The program will be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time. Okay, so this is week 1 shown on the screen. So for this, the client is going to start week 1 on a rest day. However, as the client wants to live a more active lifestyle, on their rest days they'll be taking a 30-minute brisk dog walk at 50 to 60% of their maximum heart rate to keep them moving, keep them active. On the rest days, they will also do developmental or PNF stretching. For developmental stretching, this involves increasing the stretch every 10 seconds. This can help increase flexibility. An example is lying hamstring stretches, sitting in a thigh stretch, and chest stretch. Day 2 of week 1 will be a light jog, only about 15 minutes, as we want to slowly introduce and increase the amount of exercise done. The warm-up will involve static and dynamic stretches. Static stretches are held for around 12 seconds standing still, whereas dynamic stretches are active stretches such as high knees and bum kicks. The cool down for this will be reducing the percentage of maximum heart rate to about 50 to 60%. Then slowly going back to resting. So on day 3, this is the same as day 1, so a brisk dog walk, and this time instead of developmental stretches, PNF stretches will be done. Day 4, we can see that an aqua deep class will be participated within, and this is done for a duration of 45 minutes, and for a warm-up, a 10-minute cycle on an exercise bike will be done to increase the heart rate of the client. And then for a cool down, just slowly reducing the heart rate, and this is normally included in the deep water class. Day 5 will be another rest day. For the first few weeks, it is important that rest days are given for recovery. Working the body too hard may cause major fatigue and may result in the client being put off exercise as they are working too hard and they don't want to be given a negative impression of the exercise. Day 6 will be an alternate walk and jog at 60 to 70% maximum heart rate. Static and dynamic stretches will be done for a warm-up. And as it's done to 60 to 70%, this increases the client's aerobic capacity and develops basic endurance. This isn't too much of a harsh exercise and therefore it's done within the first week, as we want to introduce exercise slowly. Last day of the week is a 15-minute core workout with a 5-minute rest, then a 15-minute upper body workout. The upper body workout would involve tricep dips and bicep curls, and the core workout may involve sit-ups and crunches and maybe like side mason twists. But if the client cannot participate in the aqua deep water class, client 1 could partake in kayaking instead, as this is a good exercise which can be done. So week 2, we start the week with a 30-minute cardio session at the gym. This involves work on the exercise bike, cross trainer and treadmill. The client will be working at 70 to 80% of their maximum heart rate, and this is the weight fat burning zone. So this can help the client lose that weight that they want to lose. So day 2, we have a rest day to recover, and still, as the same as last week, a brisk walk will be done. Wednesday, we see that circuit training is done. This will be done as it can help work on cardio as well as toning specific muscles. It's a full body workout which will last 20 minutes at 70 to 80% of our maximum heart rate. Warm up would be static and dynamic stretches, and the cool down we can do a slow walk on the treadmill to slowly reduce that heart rate. On Thursday, the client is going to be doing lane swimming in the aerobic training zone, and this is 70 to 80% of maximum heart rate. They're going to be doing this because it's in the fat burning training zone, so that will help with the weight loss, and also it's quite a nice slow recovery from circuit training as well. So the warm up for the lane swimming can be 10 minutes on an exercise bike to get the legs moving and to loosen up those muscles. The cool down can be a slow swim, so doing leisurely lengths, and even a foam roller can be used as you get out of the pool, and this helps reduce cramp as well. So on the Friday, that's another rest day where a brisk walk will be done at 50 to 60% of the maximum heart rate, and then also developmental stretches will be done as well. On the Saturday, a 2 or 2.5 mile jog will be done at 60 to 70% of maximum heart rate, and we're including a lot of cardio, as we said before. This is helps burn fat, so that's what the client needs. So for a warm-up, we'll be doing full body static and dynamic stretches. For a cool down, we can go for a run, to a jog, to a walk, and then slowly stretching out all those muscles that have been used. On the Sunday, we're going to do an alternate speed walk to a jog, and then keep alternating that. So dynamic and static stretches done again, and for cool down, slowly reducing the intensity back to resting. So instead of cardio at the gym, the client could take a spinning class as an alternate option, because this makes the client work at a very high intensity and will help burn fat. So week 3 is just week 1 repeated. So it's the same amount of rest days. However, on Tuesday, the light jog can be taken up a notch. So yeah, instead of 30 minutes, they could do 35 minutes and just increasing that time every so often. And then, yeah, instead of the Aqua Deep class, Zumba could be done instead. So week 4, we have at the start a light jog. This is done at 60 to 70% of the maximum heart rate. And so for the cool down, we can reduce it to 50 to 60% of maximum heart rate, and then just keep reducing that back to resting levels. The warm up, static and dynamic stretches again. So for the circuit training on the Tuesday